Well, as it's a nice day, I've decided to step away from the house and the computer screen for an hour. My go-to place today, of course, is the Loudwood Annex field, one of several fabulous fields of Phacelia here just outside the village of Eakring. The Phacelia's starting to go over, but this field is increasingly full of mostly creeping thistle, but there's lots of spear thistle too. Spear thistle forms huge clumps. It's a brute of a plant and doesn't take any prisoners. If you've dealt with spear thistle before, you'll find out and you'll know exactly what I mean. But on those spear thistles we have lots of painted lady caterpillars. Caterpillars of all instars. I've just looked at one particular plant and there were the vacated webs where full-grown larvae have left the plant and wandered to find somewhere to pupate. There are still some full-grown larvae on them, third instar larvae and late first instar larvae. And then while I was looking at one of these plants, I had an adult painted lady come and carefully deposit an egg. So far as I've walked around here, I've seen two adult painted ladies, the one that I've just referred to laying an egg, and another one has just come in to the field from the north. I don't think there's any migration going on, and if there were some migration, I think it would be northwards anywhere. But there's obviously lots of painted ladies just starting to appear now. But there's even more larvae and presumably pupa. I'd like to find a pupa. In fact, that might be my task of the day. Difficult task to find one though. Still, it's a nice day to look for one. Well, this is just one spear thistle plant, but I could go to every spear thistle in this field and this will be very typical. There are a number of larval webs, past and present. Obvious one being this one here, but we also have old webs here and several in this central area. But there are younger larval webs containing second instar just here and low down here as well. Here's another old web. I just haven't seen anything like it at all, and it certainly wasn't like this as far as I was concerned in the 2009 and I think it was 1997 influxes. The butterflies that have moved through here have certainly left their mark, and what an exciting July we're going to have. It should be painted lady filled. But if you haven't seen these larvae, get out for a walk. Field edges are great. Find yourself a spear thistle and I'm sure you've got every chance of finding caterpillars. And here's a final instar larva just making its final tent, just pulling the leaves together. And there's another one right at the side of the camera, but throughout this field, on especially spear thistles, it's very noticeable. You can see the remnants of similar webs created by all the larvae over the last few weeks. I really haven't seen anything like this in terms of larvae, or the number of larvae, and it's really great to see. Breezy today. That doesn't detract from my favourite view in Nottinghamshire. You can see the other three Phacelia fields just to the right of Eakring Flash, which is hidden now by an assortment of trees and shrubs, and then the village of Eakring in amongst more trees and shrubs, just in the near distance there. This is a nice place just a while away an hour. On what is a hot day, we're approaching 30 centigrade. I make a lot of these fields, quite rightly so, because to me the introduction of these fields, or at least having them here in the Eakering area, is the biggest boost that the invertebrate population here could be given. It's an enormous attractant for insects. They are brought in, encouraged by the scent and the colour, to come and feed in these fields. And when they want to deposit eggs, they can go to their nearest food plant. But these fields have been better this second year because a range of other plants have come up amongst the Phacelia. The creeping thistle is more extensive this year, considerably more extensive. But this is likely to be the last year for this kind of field, at least in this spot. It will then be ploughed in later in the summer to produce a crop for next year. But they're just full of insects. And this year, of course, full of painted ladies. They're an absolute joy. Here's a second install larva. They are very easy to find despite their small size, because they live under a few strands of silk on top of the leaves. They do a bit of window feeding and then they move elsewhere onto the plant and do start to form tents. But when they're late first to early second install, they're an easy find, especially this year. And of course, just below this Phacelia field is an area which has been left purposefully to go wild for a number of years now. There's large stands of bramble in here, developing scrub. The scrub is dealt with not on an annual basis, but every so many years. And then it's a carpet of knapweed. So if the Phacelia field wasn't here, the butterflies and other insects can have their fill at the copious amount of knapweed that is here. I'm just starting to work my way back up the hill towards where the car is parked. I think that's the wise thing to do with the temperature in the low 30s as it is at the moment. But this bottom end of the field, the Phacelia is about done as far as I can see. There's odd little bits of flower on it, but it's largely done. And so other plants have taken over as the sort of nectar source. Lots of creeping thistle here. In fact, the field is full of creeping thistle, which is good for painted ladies, of course, but there aren't that many butterflies. The commonest is small white, which is appearing in numbers, and there's meadow brown here too. I've had a single comma and 3 painted ladies, one of which was incredibly tatty. Looked as though it had been through a mincer, and yet one was immaculate and laying eggs. We're clearly just about at the point where the next generation of painted ladies are going to appear. What they will do, I don't know. Will they move north, south, or will they stay in this area? They don't really have to go far, because all the food plants and all the nectar source they could ever wish for is right just here. So, a walk uphill.